Emma sat alone in her car, the hum of the air conditioner the only sound in the stifling July heat. Her appointment time blinked on her phone screen, a reminder she'd almost cancelled 3 times that morning. Her hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly her fingers ached, knuckles pale against the leather. For months, she had carried this secret like a stone in her chest, a condition so personal she could barely even name it in her own mind. Each day it gnawed at her, the pain sharp and constant, but worse than the pain was the shame. What if they laughed? What if they told her she was overreacting, or worse, disgusting? She watched people come and go through the glass doors of the clinic. Mothers holding babies. Elderly couples leaning on each other's arms. Ordinary people with ordinary problems. She felt anything but ordinary. Her phone buzzed with a message from her sister, "Let me know how it goes, okay? Proud of you for going." Emma swallowed hard. She wished she felt brave. She wished she could run, drive away, and forget all of this. But deep down she knew, if she didn't face it now, things would only get worse. "Come on, Emma," she whispered to herself, her voice trembling. "You can't live like this forever." Drawing a shaky breath, she opened the car door, stepped out into the blinding sunlight, and walked toward the clinic, her heart pounding with every step. Inside the clinic, the cool air hit Emma's flushed cheeks, but it did little to calm the heat of her nerves. She approached the reception desk with hesitant steps, handed over her ID, and tried to keep her voice steady while checking in. The receptionist smiled kindly and told her to take a seat. Emma settled into a chair near the corner of the waiting room, tugging at the sleeves of her cardigan as though it could hide her unease. Around her, life unfolded in small, ordinary moments. A toddler giggling at a cartoon on a tablet, an older man quietly reading a newspaper, the rhythmic tapping of someone's foot. It was strange how normal everything looked while she felt anything but normal. Her mind raced through worst-case scenarios. She pictured stern faces, raised eyebrows, awkward silences. She closed her eyes for a moment, drawing in a shaky breath. Then a nurse appeared at the doorway, calling her name. Emma rose slowly, legs stiff, and followed down a narrow hallway lined with framed prints of wildflowers and mountain scenes, attempts to soothe anxious patients like her. When the exam room door opened, she braced herself for the expected, an older doctor with an impatient manner. Instead, standing there was a young man in his late 20s, dark hair slightly tousled, a warm smile softening the clinical white coat. His badge read Dr. Jason Cole. He extended his hand gently. "Emma, right? I'm Dr. Cole. Thank you for coming in today." Something in his tone, steady, kind, without a hint of judgment, made her heart ease, just a little. Emma perched on the edge of the exam table, her hands folded tightly in her lap. The crinkling paper beneath her felt unbearably loud in the silence. She kept her gaze fixed on the floor, tracing the tile patterns as if they might swallow her whole. "So," Dr. Cole began gently, pulling up a stool and sitting so they were eye level. "What's been going on? Take your time." Emma opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her mind screamed 1,000 thoughts, "This is too embarrassing. He'll think I'm ridiculous. I should leave." Her throat tightened. She forced out a brittle laugh. "Honestly, I'm not sure I can even say it." Dr. Cole didn't look impatient or confused. He simply nodded, folding his hands. "That's okay. We don't have to rush. You're safe here." Something in those words cracked the armor she'd been wearing for months. Her eyes stung. She looked away quickly, but the tears came anyway. It's something I've been dealing with for so long," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's personal. And I thought maybe it would go away, but it hasn't. And I feel so ashamed." She took a deep, shaky breath and finally spoke the words, her symptoms, her fears, the pain that woke her at night, the constant anxiety every day. The confession spilled out in fragments and sobs, but Dr. Cole listened intently, never interrupting, never flinching. When she finished, there was a long pause. Emma wiped at her face, embarrassed by her own tears. But Dr. Cole only leaned forward slightly, his voice calm and warm. "Emma," he said softly, "thank you for telling me that. I know how hard that must have been. And I want you to know, you are absolutely not alone." Emma braced herself for the look she dreaded, the tightening of lips, the awkward avoidance of eye contact. Instead, Dr. Cole remained exactly as he had been, calm, steady, human. "Emma," he said gently, "first, I need you to hear this. What you've described is more common than you think. There is absolutely no reason to feel ashamed." She blinked at him, startled. "Really? I've never heard anyone talk about it." "That's because," he said with a small, understanding smile, "a lot of people feel the same way you did, too embarrassed to speak up. But the truth is, I see cases like this often. And there's so much we can do to help." He turned to his computer, typing up a treatment plan, explaining each step in plain words, not medical jargon. He spoke about simple lifestyle adjustments, medications, follow-up support. Then he paused, his expression softening even more. "I want you to know something personal," he said. "My own sister struggled with this a few years back. Watching her suffer in silence pushed me to specialize in this area. She's healthy and happy now, because she finally spoke up. You just did the same brave thing." Emma's lips trembled, a wave of relief washing over her. She hadn't just been heard. She had been understood. The heaviness she'd carried for months began to dissolve, replaced by a fragile hope. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I thought I was alone in this." Dr. Cole shook his head gently. "Not alone. Not anymore." In that small, sterile room, something shifted inside her, a deep sense that compassion, even from a stranger, could be life-changing. 2 months later, Emma pushed open the clinic doors once again, but this time, she walked in with her head high. The air still smelled faintly of antiseptic, but it no longer filled her with dread. Instead, it carried a sense of safety, a place where she had reclaimed a part of herself. She sat in the waiting room and smiled faintly at the same toddler now toddling around on chubby legs. She noticed the elderly couple again, holding hands as they waited. Life went on around her, and for the first time in years, she felt like she belonged in it. When Dr. Cole entered the exam room, his familiar warm smile greeted her. "Emma. Good to see you again. How have you been feeling?" "Better," she said, meaning every word. "So much better. The treatment, it's working. But more than that, I don't feel scared anymore. I don't feel ashamed." Her voice caught unexpectedly, and she brushed at her eyes with a quick laugh. "I didn't think I'd ever say that." Dr. Cole nodded, pride evident in his eyes. "You did something incredibly brave. Don't ever forget that." She stood to leave, then turned back. "You know, if anyone ever tells me they're too embarrassed to get help, I'm going to tell them about this day. About you." He smiled softly. "That's how we change things, one person at a time." Stepping out into the bright afternoon, Emma felt the sun on her face and breathed deeply, the weight of secrecy gone. She was lighter, freer, and filled with a quiet determination to live openly, and to pass on the kindness that had saved her.